You currently locked into the coldest podcast in the land. It's your boy, B. Jones, a.k.a. Bolo, and you know when I'm pulling up to the porch. I can't pull up without my dog.
What's going on, y'all? It's your main man, Big Smitty, a.k.a. D-Nice, and you heard Bolo just said, this is the porch. Welcome. We back again, Bolo, man. I didn't see you last week. You was ducking and dodging me, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, life has been lifing right now, but I'm good. I'm blessed. 10 toes down. You know we can't come to the porch unless we talk about God first. God is good, brother. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hey, man. Hey, same way, man. Blessed and busy is what I'll say.
Thanks.
Very busy. Grinding every day, doing the morning show. Obviously preparing for the porch, going to Fox, handling that. You know how it is. I mean, so but it's good though. No complaints at all. I'd rather be busy than not have nothing on my plate. So
thanks.
And just so excited for today's episode, of course, man. Like I said, we missed last week, but we're back at it again, and we always come with you with something new, something bigger and better. And today's special guest is somebody that I know is going to entertain and excite the Porch family. So Let me give her the proper introduction, man.
Okay.
This is somebody who truly does it all. She's an artist, a dancer, a singer, an actress, a YouTuber, a lover of God, an entrepreneur, and she's known as the fun friend whenever y'all ready to turn up. It's the one and only Camille Bright. Welcome to the porch.
What's up? Thank you so much for having me. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
You love that. D-Dale, that's it. That's it. Hey,
I think you covered it. That was a good one.
Did I cover it? It was a long list. It's a few things I missed because I know you could throw down in the kitchen. I know there's a few other things you be doing. So
that too, yeah. You covered most of it. The kitchen, definitely, I throw down over there too. Cammie's kitchen, that's on YouTube. There's honestly so many things. I'm just truly blessed to have, like you said, a full plate of stuff. And honestly, that's just how I take it on. I'm just like, all right, God, what you got for me today on my plate? What we eating today? What we going for? You know, but I'm grateful, absolutely. First of all, even to be here, but to have so many things to talk about that I'm actually doing, I'm grateful.
Man, that's such a blessing. And we're excited to, again, have you on here and to really learn all about you. And one question that we always love to start off with when we bring on a special guest is real simple. Yeah. Who is Camille Bright?
That's a really good question. Who is Camille Bright? Camille Bright is a lover of God. Camille Bright is the light. I actually pray to be that when I walk into a room. I say that my theme song is this little light of mine. So I feel like any scenario. Come on, you know it. I thought I was raised up in the church when this song.
Right.
Come on, grandma taught me that one way back. But basically, I truly feel like representing my life that way. So I feel like if it's acting or if it's music or if it's dance, whatever I do I want to bring the light to that, bringing the joy, bringing the energy wherever I go. I'd say that I am, in one word, I'm a bright light. That's for sure. So I don't like to actually ever put it in just like actor, dancer, this or that, because that puts you in a box. I'm so many more things than that. So a light shines out the box. So we're just gonna stick with I'm the light.
So take us back a little bit then, Camille. Like where did that stem from? Like, did you like from birth? Like, were you like the light from birth, or was it just something that you naturally just fell into?
Well, I would say it's been interesting because I think as I've gotten older, it takes you looking back in hindsight to be like, have I always been this girl? Because I'm actually pressing into who I am now. But I'm like, okay, no, I actually have been. And that's what actually keeps me energized to keep going to be this adult woman, because I think a lot of us are these awesome human beings who come out with all these ideas and all these things we want to do, and we are kind of the light until the world somewhat dims us a bit. So I will say that I think I've actually always been that, but I got dimmed a little bit along the way. I can't hold you. So I feel even in the past few years, it's been a reawakening of realizing, girl, you always were the light. You've been the light. God made you that way. So shine, honey, but I always did grow up in church, if it was speaking at the Children's Day Summit or the whatever, I was always somewhat of the hostess with the mostest, or giving some like recital, dance competitions. I did the beauty pageant vibes, so I was like Miss Junior America. So always stuff that was on the forefront. So I would say that I've always had the dream of being, in the spotlight a bit. And I definitely have always kind of geared myself towards that for sure. But I think in terms of just being an adult now, it's like really honing in on the purpose of it all.
That's
you know?
dope. Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like somebody living out like their full potential. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
You
like
know,
the way
which
you
is
said that.
which is pretty cool because a lot of people never really tap into their true selves. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where it just takes a lot of time, or some people never get there. So it's cool to see, you know, obviously where you're trajecting and where you are right now. So
Yeah, I feel really blessed. And I definitely, like I said, I think it's been a journey more than anything. It's like you kind of grow up doing a lot of things that maybe your parents put you into, hoping you find your niche and your thing. And I'm grateful that along the way, I feel like it was about high school where I kind of knew, like, all right, I want to really do this thing and take it seriously. So, yeah.
Now, my question for you is like, what gave you the confidence to just to try all these different avenues and to be comfortable to try it out? Because like I remember me as a kid, and I'll be honest, it was times where I dealt with some insecurities growing up and just not
1000%.
being hesitant of like, should I try to do that? Or if I do it and I fail, what are the other kids gonna say? Or just kind of naturally as a kid, you go through those different trials and different mindsets. You come up as someone who either A, somehow like mentally was able to like press through that, or B, maybe you face the same thing and you just was like, F it, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, which I guess how do you deal with that?
I think I was a F it, I'm just gonna go for it kid. There were things that I started off with like soccer or something like that, where clearly that wasn't it for me. But at the same time, y'all got a little soccer ball, I kick it around and hit stuff. I do, from trying things like what was not my thing. I did do gymnastics at one point too, but it was like I remember being in gymnastics and dance at one point. And my mom was like, well, which one are you feeling? And what's one, so I feel really grateful that I had parents who kind of just put me in a bunch of stuff for me to even realize like, all right, I think I like this, or maybe no, that's not it for me. And there's also, once again, as I'm getting older, there are things that are coming back around, like even with the cooking, for instance, because I guess I was in the South and everything, everyone assumes like, oh yeah, your grandma taught you all those recipes. And it was like, actually, I was broke for a while in LA and I had to figure out how to make all these little fancy dinners I was going to spend all my money on, So cooking evolved. And, there's just things that I think I've picked up along the way. Even music for me, I would say was more secondary than acting, because I started off with being a theater kid and starting off in, I guess, maybe the 5th or 6th grade doing theater, doing plays. But it wasn't until I actually moved to LA that I got into music. And then it's kind of like as I keep finding things and I'm enjoying them, I just allow myself to keep doing it, basically. Yeah.
I love that.
And I think so many people do get hung up on maybe what will people say, or, oh, she switched up, or, she's not doing this no more. What happened to that? And this is like, well, at the end of the day, it's my journey, is what makes me feel good. And I feel like I pick up on the things like the music, the acting, all those things. Like, oh, this feels good. Do more of that. Okay, you writing songs now. We're going to write some more songs, So I just feel like as I get the confidence from doing it, I'll just do more. And that's just kind of how I've, I guess, built up a repertoire at this point of being like, oh, she do A, B, C, and D. I just kind of do everything I enjoy and do more of it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I love it a lot, man. Because like you said, I really feel like your story, and we just now getting started, but your story, even at this point, is like real inspirational to people who are listening in and tuning in. I'm sure it's people right now who got a dream, but want to do something, want to try something, want to kind of take that leap of faith, but for whatever reason, something is holding them back, right? Whether it's their own insecurities internally, or it's the outside world, social media, some type of outside factor that's kind of pushing them down and making them not feel like they can do it. So like your story right now, just hearing is like, nah, just go F it, go do it, go try it. Because the worst thing that can happen is what? You fall down, get back up, wipe yourself off.
Maybe,
Let's get it.
Right.
And I do think that after so many auditions and so many no's, after a while, it's kind of like, man, we take no for breakfast.
Let's get it.
What else you got for me? I'm gonna do something else. You know what I'm saying?
Try it again. Try it. Been there, done that.
I put no in my cereal.
Well, maybe you're just not the right yes. You know what I'm saying? And that's really my main thing recently in general. It's just like, all right, what's for me is never going to pass me by, and what's for me, God already has. So it's making it easier when I hear no, because I'm like, all right, that wasn't what God had for me. And now, mind you, this sound real like, I'm super positive Patty, but it does take work to like believe it and stay in that. Like, it's like I have to truly affirm that in myself constantly. Because I mean, you do hear no when I'm still human. It's kind of, it hits you a little bit. But if you actually do know your worth and you do know whose you are, you will rest, I think, a little bit more easy when you hear those no's. It kind of just makes you know, like, okay, I'm redirected, or okay, God didn't have that for me, and that's all right.
Yeah, that's a fact. Now, we read some. It was an article. I forgot where it was from, but the article was mentioning how you were mentioning like your role has been pretty smooth because you've been able to fall in love with the journey. And obviously, that big piece of like falling in love with the journey could like translate across many avenues just in life. Like, could you speak to the Porch a little bit about falling in love with the journey and what that looks like? Because obviously, you probably fell in love with failing and maybe hitting some hardship and being able to push through. So, what does that falling in love piece like look like for you?
That's really good. I feel like falling in love sounds like what it is. Like you kind of have to fall in love with it. Like I think that it's not easy in the beginning. And I think that we all have these ideas of what it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to look like. And I feel like once you kind of let go of the timelines or the constraints that you put on yourself, then you can really enjoy the journey. And I feel like it becomes this thing of just knowing what you're signing up for. We don't have a whole lot of guarantees, especially in entertainment industry or when you're pursuing a dream as an entrepreneur. But as long as you are excited about it, and as long as you know that each and every day you're putting something towards it, I always try not to get myself overwhelmed because I can kind of do that. Sometimes it's with having so many things that I do, but it's just like, one day at a time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and what do they say? Cinch by cinch, or eat the horse one at a time, whatever. Yeah. All these things that people have thrown out at me over the years, I've really had to actually listen to and be like, okay, we only can do this today. So I feel like being present helps you stay in love with the journey, as well as recognizing too, my thing recently has been like, I get to do this. It's not an obligation or anything. Like we get to wake up and say, hey, we're doing a podcast today. This is really cool. We get to inspire people. We get to go to set. We get to have an audition. We get to hear no because we actually tried something that got us there, So I feel like falling in love with the journey is really kind of a hard thing, but you have to get yourself into it. It's a rhythm. Yeah. And once you do find that rhythm, I say do whatever you can to stay on it. And my main thing I would say is be present and just recognize that like so many people may want to be doing exactly what you're doing, but you get to. So be honoring that by being everyone else's representation of that, like all the people who couldn't do it. Your grandma, your ancestors, all these things that weren't able to even be done by us not long ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if it isn't like $1 million project, or if it's not gonna, go by next week, or you're not sold out by next month, it's like, you're still doing it. You're still pursuing something, you're living. So as long as you are, just enjoy that.
100%.
Man,
that's real game.
She over here preach. It's real game, real gems right here, Porch family. I hope you about your notebooks out, your pen and your pad, because you dropping gems, y'all. I love it, man. I love it. And it's funny you say be present, man. Like all of our long-time listeners, they already know this, but like I have my own clothing brand called Live for Today. And it's the same type of message where, again, I'm a victim of my own, like not listening to my own message, because I'm just like you. At times I get overwhelmed. I'm thinking about everything I got to do for the today, tomorrow, the next day, and you start getting stressed out and anxiety. And I've been trying to just tell myself, like, listen to your own brand, listen to what you're preaching, practice what you preach, because it's like, man, just focus on right now in the moment. Like I'm in LA right now. It's 6:48 p.m. It's Tuesday. We on the porch. That's it. Don't worry about nothing else.
That's all we can control right now.
Yeah.
Like, and when we start to do, the future, or we living in the past, it's like, it really takes you out. And like you said, I kind of had a moment where I suffered from anxiety, and I don't think I actually knew it for a long time. And it wasn't until I took time to really kind of disconnect a bit, if it was social media, if it's just being more in the nature vibes and kind of more, I guess, in the South a little bit too, kind of helped that as well, just slowing down a little bit. But it really took me being like, oh my goodness, like that feeling that you felt all the time, that's not normal actually, sis. Like you're supposed to be calm. Everything's supposed to be cool. I feel like I was addicted maybe to the hustle and the bustle and feeling like stuff had to happen all the time. But it's like, a lot of times too, you do have to chill so God can work, It's like, if you already put it out there, you're doing your works. It's like, give it a little time to manifest and to marinate. Like, he got you. It's cool, sis.
Let's stay on this real quick, because that's what I'm dealing with right now. It's that trying to be patient. I be talking to God like, God, I trust you, but come on now. Like, what we doing? Like, That bank account ain't banking right now. Like what
the math don't be mathing all the time.
Math don't be mathing sometimes. And sometimes people confuse the patient with being stagnant.
Ooh.
That's
Feel what I'm saying?
Say that again, Bolo. Say that again. They didn't hear you in the back.
With being stagnant, you know what I'm saying? And some people take advantage of the patients and think it's them being patient, but they're really stagnant. So you got to know when to move and how to move, you know? So
that's a word. No, literally, that has actually been my prayer. Like, okay, help me to know when it's time to rest and when it's time to put the pedal to the metal. Because
discernment. I need discernment, God.
Discernment, because it is a window in time to get certain things met and stuff like that. But I also do think there's a window in time for you just to chill out once you've done all you can do. But you just have to know when that is. And that is, I think, the hard part for sure.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat here. We're figuring it out.
This is crazy how like we just met. I feel like I've been knowing you for 10 years. Like it's crazy. We dealing with the same stuff.
Oh man.
Now I want to transition just in a little bit here. So you brought up and mentioned a couple of times that you're from the South. You're from South Carolina to be exact, correct?
Ooh.
Talk to us about, like, I've never been to South Carolina. Bolo, you been to South Carolina?
No, you know what? It's so funny, bro. I believe you have. Remember at Ball State? So me and my partner, Big Smitty, we went to Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, but we played Clemson. That's in South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then we had this crazy like chicken spot. It was in the country. It was fried chicken, but it was white folks cooking it though. But it was fire. So you might know where it's at. Right? It was fire.
It was big pieces. Oh, what was it called, Bolo?
Oh no, but
Zestos.
Man, I can't remember. But
it was 2012. This was 2012.
And it was off the chain.
Damn, I remember that now. We did
South
go to
Carolina.
Clemson.
Obviously, South Carolina huge, but you know.
The thing about South Carolina is the white and the black folks can fry some chicken. So you be
that's crazy. That's crazy.
You good either way, huh?
You good piece of chicken,
you know, some states you like, hold on, who back there?
Yeah, exactly.
Now let me ask you though, like how did South Carolina like shape you and kind of mold you into the person you are today?
You know, I would say that the hometown, I guess, Southern Belle vibes are definitely in me for sure. You know, this is like the Bible Belt. So I guess that is a lot of the foundation I had also too growing up in church. Yeah. But I would say it shaped me in the sense of definitely keeping me grounded because I do come back home pretty often and regularly. I'm actually in South Carolina right now.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, I've been actually making a real point of spending adequate time here because it really does feel great, like I said, with the balance and helping me not have so much anxiety and being around family and stuff like that. And also the Southern Belle-ness. I like to keep my femininity about myself. So it's always cute to you know, be back home. It helps me, like I said, keep that vibe about myself.
I love
it. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
So like going from the South and just totally switching gears to the other part of the country, what was that? What did that transition like do to you? Like I know it had to mess you up at some point.
Yeah.
You know, it was very interesting. So basically I went to New York first. So I went to New York for 4 years and then I was in California for the past like 10 years. So right. Like, so New York actually, I think, helped me for sure because I think I might have been a different girl if I went to California first, even though that's what I wanted to do. My parents were like, no, sis, not happening, you know? And I guess it was because I was still on the East Coast. It was still close enough. I had some family in New York. They felt a little bit more comfortable. But it definitely taught me a lot of grind and a lot of just like, I think the thick skin probably came a lot from New York and also I guess the wherewithal to kind of just keep it up and keep it going. Because anything you have to do in New York, you really got to get up and really want to do it because it's like you're going on the train to 15 blocks to up the street to around the corner. And mind you, you know, I don't want to be completely telling my age, but I was in these streets before the Uber and the Google Maps and all those things. So it was definitely giving like, check your hop stop is what they had back in the day. So what train do you take to here to there? And that was how I was doing auditions in life at that point. So it was really showing me like, oh girl, you really do want this. But if you really do want this, now it's time to go to LA. So that's what I decided to do. My parents' thing was once I had enough money to provide for myself, then I could go do whatever I wanted to do. So I worked really hard in New York. And so when I moved to LA, I was like, well, y'all can't really tell me anything, remember? You said money, I can move. And that's exactly what I did. And so I feel like, you know, I definitely got homesick a good little bit. It took me a bit, I think, once I got to LA to kind of really get my way about myself. It was like, there were so many like cocktail and kiki friends, but not a lot of like, I can just sit on your couch and have a day kind of moment,
right,
you know? So I had to really build my village, I think, before I got super comfortable in LA. And then that helped it just kind of be a lot of fun as well as comfortable. I found a church family. I remember starting to go to one church in the very beginning when they were still like in North Hollywood, and just building up a lot of friends and family from that kind of a community, which was really great. But I would say it was a little bit of a turbulent kind of journey initially. It was kind of like, all right, guys, who's out here? Y'all said it's popping, but I don't know. You know?
Right.
But I had auditions and things that were keeping me going, obviously. But it definitely, I think it took really just having a close-knit friend group that kind of helped me kind of keep on going out in LA in particular.
That's real. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because, like, again, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised, you know what I'm saying? So kind of, you know, small town, you know, Midwestern values. And I moved out to LA about 5 years ago to kind of get into the entertainment space as well, more so on the sports side, but just entertainment in general. And it's kind of same thing with me. I really had to find like my village, so to speak. I had one good friend who I knew out here, and luckily, like, thank God through him, able to connect with like others, and now we kind of built my village, and now it's starting to feel like actually like a home. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand that and where you're coming from. Let me rewind back to New York real quick and ask you this. So I know when you're in New York, you had a few commercials, you did a couple, I think, like plays, if I'm not mistaken. What was that project or that moment in New York where you thought to yourself, like, dang, okay, like I can really do this? You know what I'm saying? Like okay, like this is serious.
That moment.
Yeah, you know, there was a actors group called Directing Actors Gym, and we used to get together, I think, once a month on Sundays, and there was different opportunities that came about. Either you were just getting up with different scene partners and working your scenes out in front of people, or either it was like a casting director would come, or if it'd be a director. It was just always something that was great for the acting community, and I felt like I had a really great community in New York. But basically at this community one day on the Sunday that we had Wendy McKenzie, who is a casting director, and she's done a good bit of things. I think she did The Blind Side. She's done like Like the Bees, a good bit of stuff, you know. So I remember thinking, oh, this is like an awesome shot. She wanted us to do a monologue. She was going to have a play coming up soon. So long story short, I auditioned for the play. I was one of the girls who got in. It was called Who is a Victorious Woman? And it pretty much went through the course of a woman's life in kind of all different stages. And so I was the young version of her, and her telling her story, how she evolved. And I remember a manager came to that play and actually called me out and was like, I loved her. She was amazing. Can I please get in touch with her? Possibly want to represent her. She talked to Wendy, and I was like, oh, so like y'all saying like I get a whole like acting real life manager, like who's in New York City, you know? So I remember starting to work with her. One of the first things I booked was a Paul Rudd movie, and I was one of the girls who was a part of like a community that he was building or something. You know, Paul Rudd, he tends to always have some funny type of cool shows. So I was like, oh my God, Paul Rudd, like, oh, I'm about to be doing it. So it was really that whole sequence of things. It was the play and then booking that. And then it was like, all right, sounds like I'm gonna need to start saving my money, like my mama said, because I'm gonna move to LA.
Right.
So, because she was gonna be able to represent me also there. So I felt like, okay, that's a nice setup. Like I'm starting to know some casting directors. I can have a manager now. I'm not going just to go at this point. Like I actually have an intention, a purpose, and I have people. So that's what got me going. And I would say it was probably about 6, 7, 8 months of me working pretty hard and like deciding, okay, this is what I was going to do. And I just decided like, let me go. I'm just going to make it happen. So yeah.
Man, that's dope.
Dang, that's cool. Living in New York and LA, what city would you say is like the toughest, like the hardest to like thrive in?
That's a tricky one because I think they could be equally hard.
For different reasons.
They're so different in a way, because I feel like in terms of being expensive, they both are. So it's kind of like just pick your expensive, what you want to, you know, do.
Right.
And where you want to be. Do you like cold at all? If you don't want to be cold, you might want to be in New York. But you know, I feel like for me, I really do love both for different reasons. But I would say that, I don't know, maybe LA for sustainability and also mental ability. I don't think it's only about, you know, the money and in pursuit of your dreams. It's also, can you mentally handle what you're doing for years at a time? And I think that LA could be the harder one, because I do recognize, if I'm completely transparent, like a moment of just like life really lifing out there in particular. So I feel like I would say the mental ability to stick with it is even harder than keeping the money in your pocket.
That makes sense. Damn, that's real.
Nah, it is
So
real.
I feel like it was one of those things for me where New York might have actually been great because I was actually a little bit younger and straight out of high school. So I was just hype about anything and everything,
Right.
you know?
Wow.
So that adrenaline, I think, really kept me going. And the LA was like the hey, do you really want it, sis? Kind of. And that's where I think I had to prove myself the most in LA. Like I said, just with everything, being able to sustain my cute little life and my cute little mind.
Yeah. And kind of staying on that, I'm glad you mentioned that. What would you say, since when you first moved out to LA, the first couple of years, what was like that toughest, I guess, roadblock or moment or just something for you where you was like, man, like you had to push through this in order for you to really excel to that next step? Like, did something stand out for you?
That's a good question. I feel like I think more than anything, it probably once again kind of results back to acting and all of the like just blatant no's that you would get. And also I think it was different at a certain point too, because now I guess we're about 2 to 3 years in of like a self-tape vibe. But at the point when I started, it was like you are going in the room and it's like 4 or 5 people you just do not know looking at you, and you got one good old shot. You know, is my lighting good? Ooh, let me rewind because I missed my word. It's like you leave out of there like you probably had all of 5 minutes and you're thinking like, okay, what did I just do? My hair. Oh, well, how did I say that? Like you're literally trying to just figure out what just happened to you because it was so quick. So I think that there was like a lot of auditions that were happening, which I was blessed to have, but it was like I didn't have that opportunity as much in New York. So as soon as I got to LA, I was really just like hitting the pavement with those kind of things, but also being so new at it, not recognizing just how it feels to walk in a room with everyone just staring at you, or just being like, maybe even they cut you off in the middle of you saying something. Oh, like, thank you. And you're like, oh shit.
No.
Nah, talk about how nervous, because like I actually did that one time. One of my homies was doing a short film and I acted in it. I did all right, but like again, I didn't go to acting school. It just whatever. But like I had one experience, and you walk in, it's a line of people all auditioning for the same exact role that you're doing. And it's like, damn, you literally got like 5 minutes, maybe. And it's like, if you fumble your word, anything, it's like, and then they don't tell you immediately. So you're like, thank you. And you walk out. It's like, damn, did I get it? You started saying, it's crazy.
It's crazy. So that's what I mean. Like mentally, it was like a trip for a while because I just threw myself into that world. And I guess that's the best way to go about it, honestly, but it's way different than it is now. And it just like you said, the other part of it was like keeping your mind right when you're standing in a room of 10 beautiful girls who look almost just like you, who probably have almost the same idea, came in with almost the same outfit. And then you got to stay in your scene and in your zone and like only lock in. And it's like a whole mental thing, I think, more than anything. And I'm now I'm like, I kind of miss the room, but I kind of grateful for, self-tapes, because now it is nice to kind of be like, okay, kind of messed that up. I didn't like the way I said that or whatever. Right. Back in the day, you didn't have that opportunity. So you had to be a lot, I think, even just witty, more skilled, know how to handle a room. Because even too, I think that we get a lot of perception now from the internet. Like people can kind of be whoever they want to be, but when you walk in a room, you feel someone's energy. So it's also, I feel like, people always used to say, agents in particular, like just go in and win the room, just win the room. Even if you don't do that great, just win the room, because they just want people who are going to like you enough to call you back the next time. Hopefully it could be for you the next time, but now it's hard because you're like, darn, I can't even really win the room. You don't really know who I am from just this moment, it's harder. So I think there's benefits, but I also think that, it gets to be a little bit tricky too, in the world of just some of the things we lose from just human connection,
It's real.
Damn. Well, what was that? We had a guest on, and remember we did like some impromptu like stage, like
she might know her. I think it was Paris. Do you know of a Paris Nicole? She act. You might not, but she lives out in LA. She was recently in the new White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah,
she was the person who did Tiana Taylor's hair. If you've seen the movie, but yeah, she was on here, and it was Bolo and Paris did a whole impromptu like. And
I forgot what she called it, but she was just like, it's situations where like you in like acting, and then like that you just kind of get put on a spot with a specific scenario, and then like you got to act.
I think it is called like just impromptu. I think it's like an impromptu class that she goes to where like they'll just tell you the basics, like, hey, you're in a restaurant, you just met your best friend, you haven't seen him in 5 years, go, and y'all got to just figure it out.
Yeah, they would say that's improv, technically.
Improv, there you go. Yeah.
Improv, okay.
Exactly. So yeah, I took my share of improv classes and stuff like that. That's I studied at Groundlings, which is a comedy school. But yeah, even for White Man Can't Jump, I remember being like on hold for that movie for like 3 weeks. And that's also very, the acting game is just so crazy because you're sitting there constantly thinking, all right, every time you get an email or you get a call, you think, oh, that's it.
Right.
You know? And a lot of times it's not. And I remember finally calling in. They're like, I call my agent probably like every 3 days. Have you heard anything? Did you hear anything? Oh yeah, still holding, still hold. So when you're on hold, they actually say that you're pinned. So that means technically don't go off and do something else though, because we actually think we really do want you, but we're not 100% sure because we got to check with like 50 people before we can approve you kind of vibe. You know, so it's just like, don't run off and do anything else because we really do like her, but we're not sure. So it can be weeks at a time sometimes where they're just kind of holding you tight, you know, and so you're already spending the money in your head. You on set with A, B, C, and D, like, wow. Like, and then like, actually, no, we went another direction. That's their favorite thing to say. We went another direction.
Damn.
That's so tough because
it's gotta be
like,
tough to live that type of life.
Yeah, because like, what are you doing in but like for those weeks? You really just you can't do nothing else really. I mean, maybe a commercial. I don't know. Like,
and you can do like a commercial things that don't obviously conflict with their schedule. But that is actually, I think, half the reason that I've come up with all these other awesome things that I do is because I recognize in the wait time I cannot wait for them. Like it doesn't do anything for me. Time is money, as well as I feel a lack of creativity when I do know there's so many other things I can be doing that I'm like, all right, well, if I'm on hold for this for 2 weeks, well, let me make sure that I'm, you know, working on my YouTube channel. Let me make sure that, you know, I went and did some dance at the studio or I actually went to a class or something like that. You know, it actually, like you asked earlier about and being in love with the journey, I think that's what helped me is just not actually waiting. Because when I wait, I feel stagnant and I feel as if I'm waiting for someone else to give me what I could still be getting joy from doing other things, you know? So yeah, gotta keep myself busy, my mind right.
I think that's I think that's a perfect segue to ask about the music. Like, where did that come from? Like, was it LA, or kind of give us some insight to where the music came along?
Yeah, well, it definitely was LA. It was me starting off actually in a girl group. So I was the rapper of a girl group, which was a really great group. Would give the vibe of like a TLC, if you would say.
Hold on, Camille, hold on, time out. You can rap?
I
mean, you know. Hey.
You know,
I love it.
So that was dope because basically, I've always just had, like I said, a big kind of bright light of a personality. I was around record execs and stuff like that. They're like, yo, you really need to be on stage. Like, you ever thought about doing music, doing a group? And I was like, well, I mean, I have, but I never really was presented an opportunity that felt legit or like it was actually going somewhere. So I just kind of always focused on what was working, which was always acting. So when this opportunity came about, and then it's actually a girlfriend of mine who was in the group with me, it made it even feel more safe to say, well, I mean, why not? Once again, I'm here to try things. So I was like, technically had not been a rapper, but I told them I could rap and they tested me out with it a little bit. And now they were like, well, we could work with this. This is good. You got all the personality, like as long as we keep working on it. And I was like, well, let's do it. And I honestly was, like I said, just having a lot of fun working even with friends and just realizing like this newfound talent and being in the studio and having that energy that I had not ever experienced was just like, yes, more of this. Let me do more of that. So, you know, the group was together for about 3.5 years. I'd say we had a little semi-success, didn't necessarily pop in the sense of how, you know, you may want it. We weren't Destiny's Child, but I will say, you know, we had a really good journey. We definitely went around to a lot of record labels, had a really great experience, a lot of showcases, and it was really cool for the time being. And that kind of segued me into, after the group was over, like, all right, so how do you feel about still doing it? So was asked to do a couple features and more writing and stuff that just kept me in it. And that's what made me be like, you know what, you could actually do this by yourself. And I actually sing and stuff too, but it was like everyone was paying their position in the group and my position was the rapper. So it was like, all right, how are we going to marry all this together to make it a solo vibe? So, that happened. And I have songs that have been on, BET as well as a new show on Tubi, and I've been doing different placements and stuff, so that's been really cool. But in terms of the music now, I'd say I'm mainly been behind the scenes doing a lot of writing, but I'm trying to figure out what's going to be Cammie's next breakout kind of moment. I feel like because I've grown so much, I want to be really authentic about what I'm singing and talking about, being current of what's happening in my life. And I think some of that's still being slightly worked out. So I've kind of been putting a pin down when it comes to me and just writing other stuff, but I'm looking to get back to it like this coming year for sure.
That's what's up. Well, you're gonna have 2 new fans for sure who's gonna be ready to tune in.
We gotta hear these bars. Like,
yeah, I gotta tap in. Like,
yeah.
You got to use right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. I mean, hey, it is the Porch. I ain't trying to
Let's get it.
Improv.
Come on, improv. Which I won't.
Right. No, I'm messing with you, man. But no, that's so dope. Again, like, it's just so many avenues that you're doing and excelling in, and it's crazy. Like, I don't know where you're going to ultimately end up at, but I know whatever it is, it's going to be like amazing because one, you lead with God, you have the right energy, the right spirit, and you put enough attention into all these different categories to where I feel like whenever you reach your quote unquote peak, whatever that moment is or whatever, it's going to be like everything you've done is going to play a role in whatever that thing is. It's going to be your music, your acting, your dancing, your cooking. It's going to somehow, you might create something we've never seen before. And it's going to be this whole new platform, whole new thing with all Camille Bright. You know what I mean? Just so like, I can see that right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's dope.
Thank you. Yes.
We got to speak it. We got to speak it, Bolo.
We got to put it out. We got to put it out there.
It's in the air.
We got to put it out there.
Yes. Now, I got to pivot real quick and ask you this, because I've been trying to keep my eyes and my ear to like this whole this writer's strike and actor strike and things like that. Again, I work at Fox Sports, so every day I come to work right off there off Pico Boulevard. They're striking right outside the front. But I read something like yesterday that said after I think 146 days, the strike is maybe coming to an end because of some type of provisional deal between the writers and the union. Can you like from your vantage point, kind of just give any insight at all as far as like, one, how this may have affected you, if any, and then two, are we finally at the end of the road with the strike?
Well, I wish I had more of the answers. I am updated as much as you are in terms of knowing that yesterday, I think they came to some type of a possible agreement that still needs to be reviewed. And I think that it's just really now up to maybe our side, the writers, the WGA folks, to decide, okay, is this going to work for them now? Right. I think the writers and the actors are technically a different strike, but within the same merit of wanting the same thing accomplished, but I think because WGA is literally the Writers Guild and then SAG is literally the actors, they have to have 2 different type of negotiations. So I do say the writers strike before us, honey. So get them figured out, and then we'll come in and hopefully get figured out too. So it makes me feel better knowing that there is some type of more reasonable conversation that's about to be had, because apparently before they weren't really even trying to hear what we were saying. So I feel better knowing that things are actually being negotiable at this point. And I just hope and pray that it's like done soon, because it has definitely affected me. I think initially, maybe because I wasn't in California, or maybe because I was traveling and doing so much that it didn't really hit me. But I feel like most recently I've sat down long enough to feel like the drought. Like there's literally not much that can be done in terms of projects. And, at a point where I was getting regular auditions, it's literally none. And they tell you that you're not really supposed to be taking on most of them if they're not under a certain agreement, So it definitely has affected me. And even I have a show out now that's on Hulu, and I don't even know if I can really say that, but
I ain't gonna say nothing. I mean,
like, wait, hold up. Hold up.
Huh?
But, just so you know.
Right.
Just call the other Black girl. We don't got to spend much time on it. But stuff like that, I couldn't actually post it on my social media page. I did post like here and there on my stories just because maybe someone else would see me and say, oh, Camille. And, I want to make sure I showed love. And also that people did somewhat know, even though I couldn't do my normal, probably, promotional moment that I would do for it or a watch party or whatever. So it definitely has changed, I think, a lot of people's way of being able to even talk about what they're doing. And I think that kind of is annoying because it kind of contradicts exactly the whole point. Like we don't actually have enough opportunities. And when we finally have it now, we can't even talk about it.
I know.
So,
Damn.
It really sucks though, because it's like, I see both sides too. It's like for the real big time actors and actresses, like they've done enough and have enough money, saved up or whatever to where like, they could do a strike and be cool probably for a minute. But then you have a lot of like majority of entertainment, like the middle of the pack people who are still building and grinding and trying to get those opportunities. It's like they really can't afford 146 days of no work and no businesses. But if you cross the picket line, so to speak, now they're looking down at you like you made a mistake. But it's like, man, it's like you kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, you know what I'm saying? And it's tough.
Yeah. And I mean, I even recognize some of the more established actors are, fighting too, because a lot of the stuff that allowed them to be cool was the residual checks is not really happening anymore, Right. And also to the whole AI thing, that's just kind of.
No, can we? No, that's crazy. Cause like, I don't like it. I read something where they said, like, for example, if Camille had a new role today or whatever, and like they brought you in and you acted one scene, whatever. They could somehow scan your body and use you without use you in an AI form for future films and movies without paying you. Is for what I read. That's crazy.
That's
like they're literally trying to have I guess pay you a lump sum of money to be able to use your image indefinitely and pretty much put you in anything. And I'm like, that is, first of all, it's just so disrespectful to people who truly have a passion and care about this and who are, out here grinding it out off of hoping to have a certain opportunity. And now you're just saying, oh, well, we're just going to throw you in whatever we want and not even tell you about it, and I'm just like, how are you going to think that it's actually okay to substitute a true human being? Like, right. I feel like robots and things, like, yeah, you can do things to an extent, but in terms of what you're actually looking for, the improv, the certain things, you're not going to be able to get that from a robot.
Right.
Moments that make things funny and these people who write all these characters, it's because of the human in them, not, so I feel like, how do you think that you're going to replace that and no one's going to notice and not be affected by it? Like,
it's almost like they're literally trying to cancel out like human interaction or human element, jobs. And because if you guys were to agree to that, hypothetically, literally they will scan you, pay you your money, and you will never be needed again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so why would I agree to that?
Why would I agree to this? And most actors, I mean, I feel like if you've been in the game at least 5+ years, it's because you love it. And if that's the case, don't play with people's passion and their dreams, like people pursue these things off of self-gratification and wanting to accomplish something for themselves. And now it's just kind of like, you're not even giving them the opportunity to be able to strive for these things. Because now it's just like, oh, we're going to replace you, we're going to scan you, we'll put you in here, put you in there. But it's like,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think keeping into the music game too, it's kind of like, the whole robot stuff is like really kind of freaky to me, to be honest.
It's trippy. I've been seeing I don't know if you guys seen it on Instagram, like they've been putting a handful of robots at every major sporting event, and they're just sitting there watching.
But I did hear that. I did hear the movie that they were trying to shoot for that.
That. But they still doing it though. Like the movie already out.
It's kind of creepy though. I think they're currently shooting a movie for that.
I don't know, bro.
Those are kind of movies I can't watch.
Yeah, right. It's wild.
Definitely giving like iRobot these days.
Yeah, like, it really is. It really is.
Keep it real, Camille, because me and Bo, we talked about this before. Do you think, and you in the industry, do you think at times, and it's like conspiracy Darnell right now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm a little bit that person too.
You think movies give us like hints sometimes of what's on the way?
Unfortunately, yes, I do. And that's why I really can't actually watch certain movies because I'm an overthinker. So I'm going to like go there with it, like in particular, what was it over the COVID? Everyone was like, oh, you should watch Handmaid's Tale. So I'm like, I watched one episode of that. I said, I can't watch this. Have y'all seen it?
I don't even
I know what you're talking about. I have
I'm
not
good,
seen it
though.
though, and now I can't see it because you got me thinking now.
Basically, it was just too similar to what was happening during COVID, and just with wearing the mask and the make you wear a certain thing, and it's like giving that whole control of everybody kind of stuff.
Wow.
It freaked me out for sure. But even iRobot, like I saw it all the years ago when it came out, but as soon as I saw these robots at a press conference recently and all these things, I was like, oh, this is
these robots are getting better. They doing backflips now.
Y'all.
They cooking. I'm like, whoa.
I saw one, they had it on Instagram. One was riding the subway in New York not too long ago.
I'm saying. Hey, I'm telling you, these they know. Look, somebody knows something more than we do. All right, because look, since I was little, why the hell does ET really look like a real life alien? Like, what gave somebody the idea or the impression that looks like that?
I see what you're saying. You saying like somebody had to see something.
Somebody had
to made their mindset
or know something right now, to even create the idea or the impression of that's what that looks like.
No, that's real.
You feel me?
I mean, like, way back to they were talking about The Simpsons with Trump.
Come on now. The Simpsons is crazy. It's like they got hella episodes, Camille, where they like right? Real stuff has happened, like legit. That's crazy. Like,
I
don't know, man.
It's crazy.
Hey, y'all, just stay prayed up, get your money, and stay out the way.
Stay out the way.
Stay out the way.
Stay out the way.
I don't even want to talk too much on it. They're gonna be looking for us.
Like, right. I'm looking.
They know what's going on.
I think I hear somebody right now. Let me stop playing.
Right. Dad gonna come get me, and the aliens gonna come get y'all.
Right.
I feel that.
Oh man, that's
speaking of staying out the way. Usually, people stay out the way when they actually are trying to travel and get away from, the normal world. So obviously, little birdie told us that you love to travel, out and about, moving and grooving and everything. What got us into traveling, and what got us to the point where we need to be on the move and getting around?
I would say, I'm trying to figure out when the bug hit me, because it was like once it got me, I was like, where else we going? Right. I'm trying to think. It was probably around the time I remember going to Abu Dhabi and going to Dubai. And that was in about 2018. And it was pre-pandemic. So it was like, once the pandemic hit, all I could think about was like going to other countries and being out of here, you know? And so also after that experience, it just also made me see how much there is to see in this world and how different people live and how many different foods and cultures. And I just really love interacting and meeting new people, So I felt like, let's just figure out exactly where we want to go and start to tackle that and make that a part of my plan and my mission. And, it's been really great. I've gone to, I went to Greece not too long ago. I guess that was the year before last. And most recently it was London and Croatia and Paris. And so I'm kind of like, oh, wow. Even as I say these things, it's like, it didn't necessarily start off like that. I've just kind of been racking up these amazing opportunities. And I'm just really grateful I've been able to, but it's been a mission. Like, I literally have to make sure that I'm like, all right, this is what we want to do. Let's make sure we put money aside. How are we going to do it? What's your itinerary? So, just being organized about it and just making sure I execute it, because it's definitely one of those things that's a personal mission, is to travel and see the world.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. I went to Jamaica was it last month? Beautiful. Just all our people, you know what I'm saying? Good food, Jamaican jerk chicken, rice and peas.
Yeah.
Oh man, just yeah, man. I love it.
Jamaica, I gotta go back, because it's nothing like Jamaica for sure. That's one of my favorites. The food, being able to see our folks, the culture, it's just a vibe. And the beaches.
The beach, the water warm. Yeah, wong wong. Yeah, I'm definitely going back. I got some rum in the fridge right now that I haven't opened up yet. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, one of the spots that you just mentioned though was Croatia. And I ain't gonna lie. I saw you, and I believe it was your homegirl, big time actress as well, Nafessa Williams. Y'all was turning up. I saw you on the IG live. Y'all had the hot tub in the room. How was that? Y'all was lit. I was like, hold on, they here dancing and drinking music. I was like, it looked like I had a hell of a time.
We had a really great time. I'm just really blessed to have such a cool bestie who we can go and travel with and get along and be on the same vibes and page because, like we had that great time in the hotel.
Right.
We did go out, but
Right.
at the same time, it's like I'm grateful that we can have such a good time just together in the hotel, kicking it, good drinks, good laughs, good music. It didn't really have to actually be like we outside.
Facts,
Like
facts.
we was overseas.
That was outside, inside, overseas.
You know what I'm saying? Remember,
outside.
we always say you can be outside without being outside.
This is true. It's an energy, I think.
That's it.
For sure.
That.
It was definitely a great time. So that was a great adventure for us. And then we ended up going back to London and staying in London for a couple of days too. So that was fun. We went to go see the the Temptations play out there. That was
that's dope.
Oh, they killed it. Like those guys are so talented. Yeah, if you have a chance to see it, I'd say that the theater over there is great. I mean, it's also kind of the same caliber as New York, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
No way. That's fun, man. No, I love to see that. I'm just curious, how did you two get so close too? Just like y'all didn't grow up together, right? You kind of just met just being in the industry or what?
Yeah, actually, interesting enough, we met in New York on an audition, actually. So yeah, so that's always kind of a cool story to tell because it's been now like, I don't know, we've been friends like 15, 16 years.
Wow.
So that tells my age too. But anyways.
Hey, you're starting to say a little too much.
We're getting close.
That's 2 strikes. Cause now I'm doing my math. I'm carried a 1.
But yeah, so with that being said, it was a while ago. We've been friends for a minute and it was on the audition. I remember we were actually standing next to each other. It was like a dance type of audition for some gym out there or something like that. And I've always been a dancer. She's a good dancer too, but she was kind of like, girl, I don't know about that, but it looked like you got it, sis. She was just like, I'm gonna see you in a minute. And I was like, okay. But she was so sweet. She was so cool. And I remember she really did wait later on outside and she was like, well, girl, how'd it go? And I was like, oh, it went really good. She was like, well, I know they're gonna call you. So she was so supportive, so sweet. Man. I remember we went and got lunch like right after that. And then we literally started running into each other at more auditions. And it was just kind of like, oh, this is my little audition homegirl kind of,
Yeah.
And interesting enough, the play that I initially told you guys about that got me excited about moving to LA, she had been working with that coach, Wendy McKenzie, for a while, and I didn't know. And so when it was being time for me to prepare to go to LA, Wendy was like, okay, I want you to start getting your resume together. I want it to look like this. She sent me like a whole kind of just zip file of a bunch of stuff, and Nafisa's resume was actually in there. And I remember being like, oh, this is the girl who I've been going to these auditions with. This is so cool. I was like, I didn't know y'all work together and, all that kind of stuff. So we even had more of a bond at that point. And eventually, I think she moved to LA maybe a year after I did. And we actually ended up seeing each other in another acting class. And we were like, girl, what's up? And so I remember it was kind of the LA moment that like locked us in. Before it was kind of like, oh, this is just a sweet girl. She's so cool. She's supportive. We're going to get some lunch. But it was like LA, like I said, finding your kind of like your family of friends. We became like a family of friends at that point because we started going to church together. We started, relationships build over time. I feel like I'm not actually too quick to hand out the super best friend card. Some like, oh my God, it's my friend, my best friend. I'm like, nah.
You got to go through some wars with me. You gotta.
It's been real.
You gotta pass a couple tests first.
We gotta cry together. We gotta do a few things to like really, I feel that.
Right, so it's validated at this point. I was like, girl, you ain't gonna get rid of me at this point, girl. You locked in.
Oh, that's so fire. Well, shout out to the festival, man. That's definitely fire, man. And I feel like God don't make no mistakes, man. Like put people when you keep running into somebody, it's like, all right, God trying to tell me something. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't believe in mistakes at all. I feel like that was extremely God directed that whole friendship because honestly, she's the one who I went to Dubai with. We are travel buddies at this point, and we almost missed our flight to Croatia. We like literally ran the whole way there.
Oh man,
she has a new nickname for me now. She calls me Dora the Explorer because she was like, "Girl, you put that book bag on you. You turned into turbo mode." I ran to the plane. I was like, "Don't you worry, friend. As long as I make it, they ain't gonna leave you." That's exactly what happened.
That's real.
Coming at the end, she was like, I'm coming. The lady was like, okay, girl, y'all can relax. She ended up handing me a little napkin. I was sweating. I was like, oh, child. We don't miss this flight, honey. We worked too hard.
You're a real one. You're a real one for that.
That sound like a short film right there, don't the Bolo?
No, and everything. I was literally picturing everything in my head, like the way you just described everything. I'm thinking about like
exactly how it was.
The whole
Yeah.
Like it's cool. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make the flight. Don't worry about it.
I love that. I love that. Now, real quick, before we transition to our final segment, which will be our quick hitters, just our fun segment we like to bring to the show. I got to ask you this, man. And again, I don't know your personal situation, so you don't have to dive into that. Just asking more in general. Because we had an actress on here before, and they said right now in LA, the dating scene is foul, Cammy. Like, can you validate? I don't know. Again, I don't know your situation, but just from the outside looking in general, can you agree, disagree? Like, what's the vibe out there right now? I'm a married man right now. Bolo, he's married too. Mm-hmm. So we really just trying to learn and understand what's going on.
Yes, come on. Love the black married men. Well, I'm single. And mingling-ish.
Mingling-ish.
You know? Okay. I would say LA can be tricky to date, I would say, for sure, because it really depends on what you want. I don't know if it's the best place to find your husband per se. But you can definitely find you a good time.
Okay.
Got you.
I think that if you are okay with situationships, you will be all right in LA. If you want to get married, you probably want to come to the South. You know?
Right. I feel that.
But we can't say that it's impossible. I do think that there are rare finds, and I hope that whoever is seeking that is able to find it. But I will say LA makes it a little tricky, and I feel like my experience is that everyone is on a mission. Like everyone is so focused on themselves that it's not really about the unity at this point. You know, I feel like you have to actually find someone who's at that stage, because most people, if they've been in LA for just even a certain amount of years, it's like there's usually still quite a mission that's being accomplished that sometimes doesn't include a partnership all the time. You know, so I think that it feels good to say you have it, but then I feel like when it gets real is kind of sometimes where you might end up single again, because it's like you feel good for a while, and then when it feels like the responsibilities are hitting, or the real like next step level is kind of like, oh shoot, you might get ghosted.
Right. That's wild, Camille, because we had a guest on the show and we asked her about just completely investing in one thing versus the other. Like you can't do both. Like there's a lot of situations where people were like if you really want to be successful and hit to the next level, like you really don't have time to actually also invest into a relationship. Like you got to do either or. So, I mean, you saying that just kind of rings true too, you know what I mean? But have you seen people do it though? Is it possible to like kind of do both? Or you have to be totally bought in?
I think so.
So I guess, you know, I can't really speak from some. I don't have a brain like y'all, so I can't say it's really worked out over here. But I will say I've had successful relationships where, for the time being, like my thing always is just like, I just want to leave someone better than I found them. And I want whatever experience and the time that we shared to have mattered in the trajectory of where we both are going, you know, but maybe it wasn't forever. And maybe there isn't necessarily, you know, wedding bells in our future. But at the same time, we were together for a year and I learned A, B, C, and D, and we did Jamaica and we did this and we went here. And these are great life experiences I was able to take on, as well as, you know, we prayed about this and I saw this happen in your life, like truly hoping that the time frame mattered, you know. And I think that sometimes, like I said, because I'm not necessarily married, I feel like I always have to take in when I spend an adequate amount of time away from maybe some of my dreams or goals, as long as they were meaningful and they still meant something in the trajectory of my betterment of my life or my experiences. I feel like it's okay to sometimes say, no, I'm cool because I'm going to do this with him right now and we're going to have this moment, but let me hop back in and do this. I do think there's a time and place for all of it. And I think that whoever you're with should also emphasize what your dreams and goals are to help accentuate those in whatever way y'all are spending time too. So I think that you just have to be intentional about, I feel like women can kind of lose themselves more than men. And I think that as my best advice, it would be just be really adamant about your own plans and your schedule, because it really takes, you know, two whole people to come together to make a one person. So if I'm starting to not do what I usually do, then I'm probably not actually going to be the best girlfriend to you, you know, because I'm going to be losing myself and it's not going to be the same. And I'm going to be stressed, and certain things are going to be more arguments than they used to be because of me having certain things I'm holding on to, you know. So I think it becomes a really mental, intentional thing. If you want to do it together, you have to know, like, we are making this choice to like live our dreams together, because if anybody starts to, then it gets weird, you know. And I'm just really a big pusher of like, I want to see whoever I'm with winning. So if I see that our relationship is not allowing you to, or you're starting to kind of fall back or be passive Paul, like, what happened to the tiger? Like, what's good? We ain't getting lazy out here. That's not cute.
I love that. So for the single fellas who are tuning into the porch right now, if they just so happen to run into the light outside in public, is it safe to say that you need an ambitious man who's confident, who allows you, not even allow, but it's okay with you being your full light at all times without feeling like that takes anything away from them? Is that safe to say? Is that
1,000%? That's the best way to say it, because I have actually been told I'm too much before, and I'm like, well, okay, guess you're not for me. You need to go find maybe a little bit less. But that's just honestly, like, I recognize I have a big personality. I do a lot of things. So whoever I feel like, steps to me and knows these things, you just be fully aware of that, in advance, and I'm not looking to really slow up anytime soon. I'm just looking to gain some, extra love and vibes along the way that are going to help everything I'm doing.
Right. Relieve some stress.
Dimming to the lights, only adding to it. You feel me?
Exactly. And help ignite the lights.
Ignite the light.
Hey, we all got to get ignited sometimes. Like, I'm leave it at that. Leave it at that.
We're all human. I do say that, partnerships are important, but I feel like one of my things I most recently have told my girlfriends is, like, don't sit down with every dude and think he has to be your husband. Like, there's so many great things to learn from men just because they have something to offer that's not a ring. It's okay.
That's a real bar.
Like, to just be able to say, like, we met and we had a great conversation over some coffee. Like, I learned about investing in such and such, and he actually knows my friend who does such and such, so we might all connect again. Like, you just don't know why you're meeting people, but don't think every person has to be your husband just because you're past the age of 30 and you're cute. Like,
damn,
that's real right there.
And that's real hearing it from a woman too, though. You know what I'm saying? Because usually it's always on the other end of, like, hey, we just kicking it. Don't think this is what it is. We just going out, just having a good time. Like,
you see, and it's interesting having these conversations with men, because I tend to be one of the cooler ones. I'll put it that
way.
Right,
I see
you
that.
do seem cool. You seem kind of like Camille could play Madden with you today, and then go dance tomorrow, and then go hang with the girls tomorrow, have brunch, and then she, you know what I mean? She kind of just cool. Like, whatever the vibe is, she cool.
Exactly. I would say I'm a chameleon also. I ebb and flow in kind of whatever scenario. You can take me to the little bougie, Four Seasons, or we could go to the hole in the wall and get some collard greens and mac and cheese. Like, I'm cool with that too.
What's your preference, though?
Cornbread?
Oh.
It's giving a balance, because
it's real. Okay.
It's a balance, because even my normal day-to-day life, in which that's another thing too, where I'm like, okay, I don't expect anybody to come in and do what I'm not doing already. Like, I enjoy taking myself just to go get sushi by myself and enjoy it. But then, like yesterday, they got a real good spot out here in South Carolina with the fried chicken and all the stuff. It's not really the cutest place at all. You're not going to want to sit down inside of there, but you're going to want to go grab your meal. So did that yesterday, but like I said, about 2 days ago, it was me at a sushi bar, just, hanging out.
Right.
It's a balance for sure.
I love it.
Real.
Too many hole in the walls. I'll be like, so.
All right, Darnell. Before we move on, I think I gotta ask this, since we already kind of in this potatoes, like in the meat right now, however you want to put it. Now, talking about a man, right? Like, women have gotten to a point where they're so independent, so strong, they're making a lot of money, they're doing a lot of great things, right? What's your view on the situations where women making more than men, and then men kind of taking a back seat in a relationship when it comes to the money side of things? Like, how does that balance out the relationship? Like, what is your thought process on that?
It's been very interesting, because I do believe that these podcasts have opened up so many conversations. I've had this kind of a conversation regularly, because I think that men and women are trying to find the answer, but I don't know if there is just one. I think that it is about your partner and who you're with and what works for the two of you. And I don't know if it's going to actually be the same formula for this guy versus that guy who I meet, because I do think it depends on for one, where everyone's coming from financially, what you're comfortable with. I think the way that people look at money is all different, you know? So I think that also too, you looking at money the same way as your partner really matters. And like, what is that? Like, do you think in a wealth mindset, or are you always worried about money? Because you're not for me. You know what I'm saying? Because also too, it's not always about, I don't really need to be checking like your pockets and stuff, but I don't want to feel like we hurting either. You know,
Right.
I'm like, at the end of the day, because I do think that there's ways to make a woman happy or smile, even if it's not about the gifts or the actual hard-earned money. Here you go, baby, whatever. Right. I'm more of, actually, my love language is more acts of service in particular, you know? So I'm somebody who sees it being like cooler if you're recognizing, oh, she's doing A, B, C, and D. Oh, she said she has a production this week. Let me maybe see if I can pay for the hair and makeup people, or let me see if I can do such and such. But I do think that those kind of things don't always have to be like equating to who has more or who has less. It's about who's showing how they care and however they can. And if it's even like, we went on a picnic because I don't know, get your check from the job you had didn't go through, but I don't necessarily need to know all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I feel like as a man, certain things, just hold that down, but don't let me feel the pressure. Like, I never want to feel like I'm a burden or anything like that. But I feel like you can walk around and think that two guys are maybe a millionaire, I guess is the best way I put it. But sometimes the one who is, he's not even actually being generous or thoughtful. You know what I mean? So why would it even matter? You know, like, just because you know he is, well, it ain't yours. So what does it matter?
So it's not about what you make per se, to an extent. It's about what you do with what you have.
You took it out of my mouth. You said it exactly.
I'm spitting balls on the porch right now.
That's what you do, what you have, and how you make your woman feel in the midst of that. You know, I do think, let's just be honest, most women do feel like, I want a man with money. And I mean,
right,
him too. But at the same time, if your man with money isn't making you feel good, if he doesn't make you feel sexy or appreciated or wanted or valued, what's his money mean? You can keep your money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather be in, you know, the nice condo than the big mansion and feel lonely, you know? So,
So just for clarity for all the women listeners, Camille Bright is saying right now on the porch that money isn't the most important thing when it comes to him. Okay, I was gonna make sure.
That's it. That's all we needed to hear.
It's like one of them hard ones as a woman. I can't hold you because I do tend to be a little bougie and a little high maintenance. But the thing is, I'm all those things by myself. So I do recognize that if someone who wants to date me, they probably recognize that already, and they want to date me because they can help maintain me being myself. So therefore, I don't know if I would have to run into necessarily a broke fella issue per se if I am continuously just being myself.
That's not even in your, like, your energy. Don't even bring that to you.
It's not even in your frequency right now. Like, your frequency is up here. Like, you know, sometimes the bro fellas just frequency is just down here. That's all it is.
And that's okay. Like, we all go through our phases.
You know,
it's just she at a different phase right now that you probably won't even be in the mix.
This is my thing too, though. Like, I would still hang out with whoever and who has whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we're starting to talk about maybe the husband portion and the adding to our lives, well, then now we do need to sit down, bro, and get real about it. Like, what you want your life to look like, what we want mine to look like. Does that make sense? Can you really do that? But to enjoy someone, we don't even need to go down that list. Like, if you're cool, you're cool.
That's real. We're gonna have to bring Camille back and just do a whole relationship thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into the whole little world of that, because that's a whole.
I got 1,000 questions that came in my head now, but I'm like, damn, we getting, like, I can't keep her up all night. She in South Carolina, you in Indiana, I'm in LA. It's early my time. I might go out still tonight. So, but let me go to my quick hitters real quick. We just have a fun, just few random fun questions that we want to get your input on. So, I'll start it off first, Bolo. Camille, who is on your Mount Rushmore of all-time actresses? Like your favorite 4 actresses of all time.
Okay, because I was gonna say, all right, so it's definitely Halle for sure, because she's the first person that came to my mind. And she's also like just one of those ladies who clearly won the Oscar, and you could just see yourself being that lady. And she's always been, you know, Halle's Halle.
That's Halle Berry.
Halle's Obviously there's certain people like the Viola Davises of the world. I love her because I mean she just brings her all to whatever role she does, as well as I recognize that she wasn't always the Viola we know. Like I remember watching her in those younger movies where they were still heavy characters that she wasn't getting recognized for. So her and Angela.
Ooh,
come on now.
Gotta go,
You know
auntie.
Auntie.
Hey, auntie.
Hey, auntie still look good. She still look
good.
good.
Black don't cry.
So
Boy,
good.
God damn.
I seen her at the Staples Center like last year. I said, "Oh, Angela Bassett," and she looking like that.
Double take.
Respectfully, respect.
She's definitely goals for sure.
Yeah,
I'm like, I keep it right and tight, like Angie. Okay,
For real, Auntie Angie.
And her too. I mean, every role is like she's so good. I don't understand why she has not had more recognition, but I think that the people who matter, we know what's up.
Yep, exactly.
So you said 4. That was 3.
Yep.
Let's see. All time. Well, I like people I like classical people. Like I like the Josephine Bakers of the world, and that kind of thing. Like it's the quirky dance and all classical element of an artist kind of a vibe, like that they used to be back in the day. The Dorothy Dandridges and all that stuff.
Dandridge.
Where they would sing, dance, and act, and just be extremely classy about everything they did. I like that.
That's fire. I love
dope.
it.
That's dope. Okay, Camille. Next question: what is your dream role and dream person to co-star with in a film?
Ooh. Take your time. Take your time.
Role. Well, I believe the dream role has not been written yet, but if it could be written, I would be like one of these Josephine Bakers or Dorothy Dandridges in a classic sense, because I would love it to be a period piece, something that takes place maybe 30s, 40s, 50s-ish, something along those lines. Something that did allow me to sing and dance and give a really cool story. I've always wanted to maybe play like a Lena Horne. Lena Horne doesn't actually have an actual biopic yet. So I'm like, okay, maybe that could be a cool vibe. You know?
said it. You just said it. So hey.
Okay. So something like that. And in terms of who I could work with, Denzel just came to mind. I was trying to think who else, but he just keeps coming back into my mind.
He always gonna come back.
In particular, I don't know. Maybe he would be the manager or the somebody. I don't know.
I just saw Equalizer 3. That man still got it, man. He's still out there doing his thing.
Man, Denzel, you can't go wrong with Denzel. He's gonna show up every time.
Okay, all right, okay. Jake!
And I really want to work with people like who I know are going to challenge my actor, and we're going to really, because they always say that in terms of acting, it's supposed to be moment to moment. It's supposed to be you making your scene partner even better. So I feel like somebody like Denzel is going to have you just on your game. Like you got to.
You ain't got no choice.
You ain't got a choice. Damn, I want to be an actor now, man.
Hey, it ain't over, Polo.
Do that shit.
Listen, you know me. I'll be like, so when you taking your classes, when they headshots?
right. Start calling you every week. Bolo, did you go or not? I'm on you now.
Read the script.
I am grateful. I've actually had a few testimonies, people telling me that after they met me, they actually pursued acting. And I'm like, that makes me feel good.
Olo, stop playing with it.
A friend who actually did it, and he was working at Merrill Lynch, quit his job. He was on the Tyler Perry show and everything.
Camille Bright.
So, hey, if you feel it in your spirit, I say go for it.
I love it. I love it, man. Okay, I got one more before we go to our true and false. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Which one are you in love with more, acting or dancing? Ooh. I'm sorry.
That was hard because I didn't even expect you to say dancing, because everyone always asks acting or music, but dancing never made me pick.
See, because listen, we do our homework on the porch.
Come on.
We know you a triple threat. You do it all. You do new socks and draw. I seen your dancing video. I seen you we know.
Oh shit.
It might be dancing. Yeah. And I think because it is the first thing that I started off with, I started dancing when I was like 2. Literally started taking tap and jazz and ballet and all that stuff. And I think it's because it's the thing that it just happens anytime and it can, you know. I feel like when you're acting, it's usually for a purpose, or you have a role, or you have a this, or you have a that. But dancing, it comes up in your spirit whenever you want it to, and you can let it be free, and you can just be yourself at any point, any time. And it's not like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, acting is usually they're calling you for something, or it's a job, or be like this, be like that. I can just be me.
Dancing is more, it's like free. It's like therapy almost.
Exactly. It's so
even in the club when you just bouncing like this. So sometimes you just need it in the club too. Just a couple little songs to get you going. Like,
hey, look,
good. Have to do too much. You know what I'm saying?
Got the solo.
Where
you have
put you in your
he got 3 of them, Camille. You see the triple cup? We can't act it.
You know I gotta mix it up, right? Mix it up.
I feel like everybody has a dance bop, and I think that it's great to see when people just enjoy themselves, you know, because I feel like not everyone's a professional dancer, but everybody knows how to groove.
Come on,
and it's really fun to actually watch people's groove, even when you're not a professional. It's even more fun because it's like, ooh, you can tell they feeling it, you know, like it's a feeling, and
it means something to them.
Right, even when you see that awkward person getting it, but you be like, yeah, because you
hype me up.
Right. I'm definitely the hype girl for sure. I will hype up pretty much anybody.
Oh, facts. I need that.
Yeah, I want people to feel good. Be yourself. Have a good time. Life is short. We should just dance.
Just dance, man. Life is short.
Let's dance.
Dance.
Okay, Camille. Next segment. This is our true or false segment. All right. So all you gotta do is answer true. All you gotta do is just throw out false. But false, you probably gotta give us a little more context to it. So the first one is the quickest way to Camille's heart is making her laugh.
True.
Ooh, love it. Okay, I like that. I like that one. True or false? Bigger is always better in any situation.
It's giving false.
It's giving false. Okay. Well, you did say false. We need a little bit of context. You were going through something with your head. You were thinking about something. Talk to us.
Well, that one was tricky mainly because I feel like bigger is better in a lot of scenarios, but not in all of them. Because you said the all. In some of them, but in all, no. Because sometimes it was like, you know, some simple things really matter more than the grandeur things. And I think that, it just doesn't fall into the all category. But most of the time, bigger is better.
That's a bar. I love it. There you go.
Okay. Last question, the true and false. Actors can catch feelings for each other when playing intimate roles.
True.
Oh,
damn.
I've always wondered if that was true. Because I be seeing certain like a 5-season series where these two people have to be a couple the entire time. And I know you're acting, but like, I mean, damn, like they are really kissing. They are really, you know what I'm saying? Like you're human.
But Camille, I'm asking though, this is like a big like pass the blunt moment. This is gonna be a trippy question though. But like, are they like falling in love with the actor or that actual person?
It's giving falling in love with the actor. Because you may or may not, unless you do have 5-6 seasons or something, you may not actually know except for who that person is on set every day. You don't know who they are when they leave.
That's true.
You are usually falling in love with the character. And typically as an actress, you know, who likes to be tapped in from the time you kind of get to set, like I've had people who play like my husband and stuff like that. And it's very like flirty throughout the day and all that stuff. Cause you're supposed to still be like kind of giving the vibes, you know?
Natural. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, even before we get to the set and the scene, and I do think it's probably different for people who are married or involved or whatnot. But I also do think that that's maybe even a reason, like we spoke about with, can you be in a relationship and pursue, you know, this dream too? Because I think the chances are pretty high. I mean, there's people literally behind the scenes who did work for weeks to make sure me and this person had chemistry, you know? So what makes you think that eventually, if you actually do have this chemistry and you're doing all these scenes that you're actually supposed to be tapping into your core of who you are and you're being real, that you wouldn't really like them?
Damn, that's one quick follow. I know you got one quick follow up to that. So with that being said, could you see yourself being in a relationship, like a relationship, but then doing an intimate scene? Like, could you see yourself like, I guess I would ask, like, would your partner have to be comfortable with you doing an intimate scene? I guess is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I actually have been in that scenario before where I was like, I had a boyfriend this was, I guess, one of my longer relationships, and we were together for a while, and I did have an intimate scene with the guy, and it was interesting when it had to be the playback time to watch it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very awkward feeling. Like, I think the day I went on set, like, he knew there was going to be a sex scene and all this kind of stuff, but it's a whole nother thing to see it, I think.
Right.
So I would just maybe say, maybe don't show those scenes.
Yeah, like maybe let them know what's happening, but then just don't watch it probably. Because like, what's the win in watching it? What's the
if you really want to see it, okay, cool. But at the same time, I would say I'll always give somebody the preference. But I do think it's tricky if you're in a committed relationship to even already know what you have to do and depending on how intimate the scenes are. Because I'm blessed to not really have had too many like kind of super scenes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's usually just been like, okay, maybe back shot or something like that where your shirt is off or something like that. But it can get very technical these days, where it's like you literally just got a little cover on your situation and he got a little cover on his situation and y'all are
hold on, that's it? So y'all
really just dry humping.
Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. So let me ask this question.
Coaches, like, so there's somebody on set, like, during these scenes to coach you on how to do it and to make sure your little stuff doesn't fall off your stuff.
Right. That's what I was like, how can you stop like a man from just having an erection? Like, obviously you're acting, but you're still physically,
you're actually touching, moment, you're actually kissing. That
can probably subconsciously put you there. Like, how, like, I know that stuff happens.
You're an attractive woman. So you telling me you acting, you kissing, you touching, like it's naturally.
I'm very sure it definitely does happen, for sure.
Okay.
Because people are human,
Right.
So yeah, so it can get really real. And I mean, I feel like, scenes like, I guess, like maybe on Power or something like that.
Right.
Like all that stuff, they doing that. Like,
They doing that. They getting it in.
She got bit. She really did get bit. It was not like somebody came in.
Right.
So how you go from that to, okay, cut. Good job. And you just stop.
That's the thing too. It's very awkward, the sex scenes, because it's like, you got somebody here with the lights and you got somebody with a mic because you probably can't have it clicked on anything because you don't got anything on. So you got somebody holding the mic over you, got somebody like right here, camera. Oh, can you kiss him like this, but a little longer, a little less tongue? Oh, but then grab her hair. You know what I mean?
That's wild.
Yeah, I never knew
that. I'd be like, Camille, call a double up. Call your stunt double.
Yeah, no. And I think for me personally, moving forward, I'd like to steer away from intimate scenes that are a little too going. Yeah, but at the same time, it depends on the story. As long as the story is being told in an artistic way and it was necessary, it's not just kind of like, all right, we use these ads. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's a good point. Because there's been time I watched like a movie or show and it's like, damn, like the shit, it's just started and y'all already like just doing it.
Getting it cracking.
Right. That's what
I tell you that. Hey, I tell you though, Camille, that Monsters ball is something else though. I still haven't figured out if they was really having sex or not. Like, I really want to figure that out. Like, this is like an ongoing question.
It was really intense.
It was really intense.
It was intense. I would put it that way. I don't really know what they were doing because I wasn't there.
Right.
It was giving real actors in their real moment, and I feel like most real actors are gonna really go there, and that's what makes them good. We believed it because it was
yeah, exactly. So that's why my lady couldn't act. No Halle Berry scenes over here.
Hey, she wasn't really, you know what I mean? If you're in later, you ain't gonna, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna really.
I do know there are certain actresses who, are married who have maybe at one point had a certain contract and now they're like, actually, no, I don't want to do these things anymore. Yeah. I have kids or I have this or that. And I do think that comes to the evolution of you as an artist and what you feel comfortable doing. But it definitely is a very intense moment even on set while you're doing it. You have to really be, I think, a very confident person to even take on roles because they are very involved and you're not just in there with you and that person,
Right.
Hey, even me thinking about it, like, I'm I'm a confident man, but like, shoot, in that moment,
on my chest,
heart beating. I'm just saying, there's just a lot going on, and like, I don't know, a lot of eyes. So I get it. So, last thing here, man, fill in the blank. In 5 years, Camille Bright will be blank.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Come on. I feel like I just want to be constantly excelling and climbing. I can't tell you exactly what it looks like. I want to leave room for God to do his thing.
Come on.
Because I'm expecting exceedingly abundantly beyond what I can ask.
I'm gonna stop playing right now.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, don't know exactly, but it's gonna be a very unstoppable mission. It's just gonna be up from here.
Man,
what's up?
I love that, Bolo, man. Well, Camille, man, this has been an amazing episode, man. Such a you are literally the light. That is the perfect name for you. As soon as you step foot on or join us here on the stream, good energy, good vibes. You know what I'm saying? Made me feel better. I'm sure Bolo could say the same. And we are definitely 2 new fans of yours, and we will be following you and cheering for you every step of the way. This is your time here to end the show, to let people know where they can find you. Anything you want to promote at all? Any movies on Hulu? Anything you want to shout out? No time to do just that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. This really was a lot of fun. I feel really honored that you asked me to do it. And it's really cool also, too, to get different perspectives and questions out, because I'm still figuring out as we go, too. So it's really great, really therapeutic in a way. But yeah, so let's see. It's at Officially Cammy, so that's CAMMI, and that's on all social media platforms. You can find me on YouTube, so it's youtube.com/Camille Bright. It's the same with Facebook /Camille Bright. And let's see, we have my cooking show that's there, Cammy's Kitchen. That's always great. I'm doing Cammy's Kitchen recreation, meaning I'm going to different restaurants, trying out their food. And like I told you guys how I learned how to cook, I'm picking something from these expensive menus and I'm going home and making a cute, affordable dish. I do have a show that is on Hulu, and it's called The Other Black Girl. And I play Camille. So check it out. Say your friends. Hey. It's really cute. It just came out not too long ago, so it should be somewhere up top for you to be able to look at as a new show. And let's see what else. I just stay tuned, because there's going to be awesome things coming, more things on the way. Check out Plainly Laid for sure. That is my travel luxury brand. Yes, the hooded neck pillow. But for the season, we are actually going to be expanding to new products that will be great for your travel needs. And so, just looking to continue to grow that, and my whole entrepreneur vibe about myself. I'm really loving this girl boss moment. So taking a hold of that and just going to keep running with it.
I love it, man. I love it. Porch fan, make sure y'all support, follow her on all platforms, watch her movies, watch her YouTube show, and just watch for Cammy, because she's on the way. She's already here, but she's still coming at the same time. Hello.
Let's get it.
Yes, sir. And Bolo, how do we end every single show, Bolo?
Hey, when you wake up every morning, make sure you look yourself in the mirror and just make sure that the best you
is the best you. And we out. Peace.
Started on the porch, that was where it all began. Had to put in work, every day we got it in. We chased all our dreams and now they can't believe it. We make it look easy, we achieving everything we needed. Now we undefeated. If we link, no, it's only business. If we get to speak and leave them speechless. I did things for free, but now it costs to see me. When you see me, you ain't gotta greet me. Just don't plot to sneak me. I'ma see it, I'ma stop and watch you lose and get defeated. What do we bleed? Came from the jungle, we humble but hungry and hunting to feed. People don't want us to leave. They love us and rush to the bus when we run in the streets, thinking we stunning the sea. We came from nothing to something, now up in the lead. Now we ain't coming in peace, hunting for blood and to crush everyone in the league. We got a reason, we put in work every day of the week, every month, every season. So many schemes, had to go hard for the team. We gave our all and succeeded, came from the deep end. Warming up pots, cooking ramen at times, that was all we was eating. Now we be feasting, 5-star restaurants every week. Whole team dripped in cloth and it's seamless. They looking hard when we step on the scene. Call us outcasts, we so fresh and so clean. Ain't about cash, please don't ask for a meeting. Just hit the stoop, grab the spaz on the beat. Nah, it ain't rude if you ask for the feet. Just play it cool when I tax you the fee. We need a pool in the back with a cord and a board to go jump off and splash for the heat. Live for the day, cause the past can determine the future or where you gon' actually be. Keep staying present, our presence a blessing. It's all that we have and we actually need. I'm taking action with passion, detaching the ones who keep acting attached to leech. I am no pastor but actually preaching. Look up these lyrics and actually read. That was where it all began. Had to put in work, dreams and now they can't believe it. We make it look easy, we achieving everything we need. Now we undefeated. If we link, no, it's only business. If we get to speak and leave them speechless. I did things for free, but now it costs to see me. When you see me, you ain't gotta greet me. Just don't plot to sneak me. I'ma see it, I'ma stop and watch you lose and get defeated.
Presented by Bet Online.